This is the Yay or Nay Show with Alex Z. A sports show for sports fans by a sports fan. And now, here is Alex Z.
All right, we got a lot of stuff to get to today. I've been saying this for a while. You know, the Lakers, they got a lot of problems. Even though the national media doesn't want to let you know that the Lakers got a lot of problems. You know, it's not just the situation with, players not getting along, AD not staying healthy, Russell Westbrook, is he on the trading block? Do people agree or disagree in regards to what Russell Westbrook has actually brought to the LA Lakers? Lots of different conversations, lots of different things in regards to the Lakers going on. But just to prove to you how bad it's been for LA so far this year, there's a headline. LeBron James has a heated moment with Lakers assistant in a win over the Minnesota Timberwolves. And it says LeBron James and LA Lakers assistant coach Phil Handy got into a heated exchange at halftime during the team's game against the Minnesota Timberwolves on Sunday night. As the halftime buzzer sounded, James could be seen rushing to the bench and having a back and forth with Handy. It wasn't exactly clear what was said between the two basketball minds. However, obviously, it was quite the scene, and it's one of many that if you really are paying attention to the Lakers, that has been going on the sidelines. They just seem to be having problem after problem after problem. AD and the injury, continues to be a problem. Russell Westbrook, like I said, when they got him, he was going to run everybody out of the gym. He was going to be too fast for all the old guys. The old guys wouldn't be able to keep up. Russell's all about himself. He wants his stats. He wants to pad his stats. He's not a team player. Looks like the Lakers are finally figuring it out. There is no way to actually fix them. They got issues. There's a reason why their record is what it is, and there's a reason why I said the Lakers will be somewhere between a 4 and a 7 seed in the West, nowhere near being the champs, even though you have certain minds, analysts, whatever you want to call them, professionals that speak about basketball on the daily. They want you to believe that for some reason, the Lakers are still one of the odds-on favorites. There's nothing to worry about. They're going to be perfectly fine. Wait till after the All-Star break. They're going to get on a run. They're going to show you who they are. They're going to figure it out. And I don't see it happening. I do not in any way, shape, or form see it happening. Another story I want to talk about is yesterday I got on Bruce Arians because I said, and I believe I'm the first anywhere. I can't speak for every podcast because it's impossible to hear and see every podcast. But as far as national media goes, I know none of them said what I said, which is Bruce Arians was the problem when it came to the Antonio Brown situation. Again, why? Because Antonio Brown, he had issues. He has mental issues. It's obvious the issues are there. Again, Tom Brady pretty much says it in his post-game presser after the game against the Jets on Sunday. And for Bruce Arians to tell a guy to get off the field is unprofessional, it's arrogant, it's stupid, and it should never happen. And he would have never done it if it was Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady or anybody else. But because it was who it was, which is Antonio Brown, he went ahead and told him to get out of here. And again, then you got conflicting reports where Antonio Brown saying he wouldn't go back into the game because he was injured, and apparently it was an alleged ankle injury. Bruce Arians is saying that conversation was never had. He never explained that he might have an injury. And then, of course, there's the protocol, which, did Antonio Brown go to the trainers and let them know he had an issue so they can go into the tent and take a look and do all the observations and things they're supposed to do because there is a certain protocol that has to be followed. So who knows? Bruce Arians might be telling the truth in regards to Antonio Brown not telling him he might have an injury issue with his ankle. Fine. Even with that being said, still unprofessional and still wrong for you to tell a player to get out of here. Antonio Brown, again, when people say he shouldn't have reacted the way he did, I get that. For people to make fun of him and for these people that I'm listening to on the national media to be the alleged social justice warriors that they are, always running their mouths, always talking about how they're social justice warriors, yet they make fun of Antonio Brown, a guy who obviously has mental issues. Shows you A, how insincere they are. B, in reality, what actual jerks these people actually are in real life. How fake they are on radio. What a facade they put on to make the people believe that they are something that they absolutely are not, when they are nothing but 100% jerks, disconnected, one percenters, rich, only concerned about themselves. And to sit there and make fun of Antonio Brown when he's got mental issues just shows you how fake they are when they say all the social justice warrior crap that they say, because they don't believe in it. They don't walk the walk. They only talk the talk, but they can't back it up. They won't back it up because they don't believe in it, because it's not really what's in their heart. They're only saying what they think they have to say to keep the money rolling into their checking accounts. Because at the end of the day, that's all any one of these fake wannabe social justice warriors is worried about. Colin Cowherd, Joy, Keyshawn Johnson, all the other people that I heard make fun of Antonio Brown, but claim to be social justice warriors, claim to be people with a heart, claim to be people that are worried about other people that have these kind of issues, yet they make fun of Antonio Brown. Knowing his history, knowing that there's a pattern, knowing there's probably a problem, Tom Brady pretty much admitting as much in his post-game presser after the game against the Jets. So the story is, one day after now former Tampa Bay Buccaneer wide receiver Antonio Brown jogged off the field in the middle of the Bucs' 28-24 win against the Jets, resulting in his dismissal from the team, Coach Bruce Arians said he does not regret bringing Brown into the organization. I have no regrets. I just hope the best for him, Arians said on Monday, acknowledging that it was difficult for him to watch Brown erupt on the sideline in such a chaotic way. After teammates Mike Evans and O.J. Howard tried to calm him down, Brown took off his jersey and pads, threw his gloves and undershirt into the stands, and jogged across the end zone shirtless while both teams were on the field. A MetLife security officer told the four-letter network that they thought it was a fan who jumped onto the field. The officer also told the four-letter network that once inside the tunnel, Brown asked state troopers for a ride to the airport, but they were unable to fulfill his request, so he received alternate transportation to the airport and did not fly home with the team. It was very hard, Arians said. I wish him well. If he needs help, I hope he gets some. It's very hard because I do care about him. No, you don't, Bruce Arians, because you are full of crap. Let's be straight up 100% 100. Bruce Arians, you are full of it. You're just saying what you think you need to say so that nobody thinks you're the jerk that you actually are. It's only obvious you're a jerk because, again, you're trying to take credit for quarterbacks you had nothing to do with their development on, Ben Roethlisberger, Andrew Luck, and then the rabbit's foot one lucky season that Carson Palmer had. But you were the head coach for Carson Palmer. You tried to take the credit. You weren't the head coach for Andrew Luck or Ben Roethlisberger, and you tried to take the credit. And then there is, if you're the quarterback whisperer that you say you are, the failure that was your previous quarterback for Tampa Bay. So just, watching this, reading this, looking at this, knowing the history of Bruce Arians, he's an ego. His mantra is no risk it, no biscuit. Next man up. That's his mantra. Bruce Arians is full of crap. And he's just saying what he thinks he needs to say, giving you a bunch of lip service. So you hope that he's not a jerk. If he actually cared about Antonio Brown, he would have never told him to get out. Number one. Number two, he would have never said that he is no longer a member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers immediately after the game. Number two. Number three, instead of telling him to get out, he would have had a conversation to find out why Antonio Brown didn't want to go back on the field and get into the game. None of those three things happened because Bruce Arians is a jerk, hot-tempered, egotistical, full of himself, obvious as 1, 2, 3. No doubt in my mind that I'm correct. I'd tell him flat to his face anytime, any place, anywhere. Mr. He thinks he's the big bad man that he thinks he is. No problem at all. No problem at all. And I don't think many people would disagree with me unless you're a hardcore Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan. But even if you are, and if you look at this from an objective point of view, you would probably agree that there's a lot of things that I'm saying that are pretty much right on spot. So Bruce Arians giving lip service. Oh, I care about him so much. Oh, he means so. No, you didn't. No, you don't. You're full of it. You're just another fake facade person trying to give a facade of an image that is not really you, because that's what people do. Las Vegas Raiders still suffering some issues. Cornerback Nate Hobbs arrested on a DUI charge just hours after their win over the Colts. So the Raiders continue to have issues. They got a big game coming up this weekend. I believe it's a win you're in situation. We'll read about that here in a moment. But again, Raiders, a lot of outside noise, a lot of problems. This just tells me that the interim coach isn't doing his job, and he's probably not the guy for the job. A lot of conversations going on right now about coaches in the NFL and about whether this particular guy should continue to hold on. Some people believe he's doing a great job and that he has the team believing in him and following him. If they did, Nate Hobbs wouldn't have had this problem. He doesn't have control of his team. He's not the guy for the job. This right here tells me if I'm the owner, if I'm the general manager, I got to start a search immediately and figure out what I need to do to get my team ready to play some football. But I think his name is Nick Soriano. He's not the guy. He's not the guy. Don't quote me on his name, but I believe that's his name. But he's not the guy for the job. They need to go find a seasoned veteran coach who knows how to handle NFL players and how to get them prepared to conduct themselves for success. All right. Power rankings in the NFL. We're just going to roll down from number 1 on through. So Green Bay Packers currently at number 1. They've locked up the top seed behind Aaron Rodgers, who is likely winning the MVP. It's time Matt LaFleur gets his due for outstanding coaching. I would disagree. Matt LaFleur, why would he deserve Coach of the Year? What did he do? Seriously, this is all Aaron Rodgers, not Matt LaFleur. Number 2, Rams. They found a way to win in Baltimore, but it wasn't pretty, and no, it wasn't. Matthew Stafford, he made some bad throws, and he has continued to make bad throws, especially over the past 2 weeks. He's got to clean it up. Folks, I said all along when the trade was made between Stafford and Goff, you were switching one quarterback for the other. And I believe Goff is the better quarterback. He's just with the bad team. And Stafford seems to be regressing and getting worse every week. I think it's an early exit for the Rams. Buccaneers winning late against the Jets isn't a good look. The defense just isn't as good as a year ago. How long have I been saying that for? They need to get guys back, and not having Chris Godwin and Antonio Brown will hurt come playoff time. It shouldn't. You supposedly have the GOAT. Shouldn't matter who the receivers are, because supposedly he's just so great. And that defense of the Buccaneers never was good. Bills, number 4. It took them a while to get rolling against the Falcons, but they did so in the second half. If they beat the Jets this week, they win the AFC East. The facts that they had to go and play as hard as they did against the Falcons shows you that I have been right about the Bills all year long. They're not as good as the national media wants you to believe. National media keeps trying to sell you on the Bills. Oh, they're so great. They're so good. Yeah, they're great and good when they play against below 500 teams. Number 5, Kansas City Chiefs. Losing to the Bengals in a shootout drops them out of the top spot in the AFC, and the defense had a rough day because the defense is not as good as everybody has been trying to sell you on. Easy to look good when you're playing a soft schedule or against teams that you're hitting at just the right time when they're playing bad football. The Chiefs have been the recipients of a great schedule that has allowed them to win the games they've been winning. I mean, maybe I should go over that in detail like I did with the Cowboys yesterday. Number 6, Titans. They're back in the top spot in the AFC for now after beating the Dolphins. If they beat the Texans on Sunday, the playoffs go through Nashville, and they will. Derrick Henry coming back. It just got announced today. Now you got the Titans, who have played team football. Probably they're the ones who have the coach of the year. If you're going to give the coach of the year to somebody, you got to give it to the Titans coach, not Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur is doing what his team was supposed to do because that's what they're built to do. And they've already made it to the NFC Championship. The Titans are the ones winning without stars, without Julio Jones, without Derrick Henry. And now that they're getting them back, it's going to be on now. Number 7, the Bengals. Their offense has them as division champs after beating the Chiefs in a shootout last week. Joe Burrow's on fire. I would disagree. Joe Burrow is Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. You don't know what you're going to get from him week to week. Number 8, New England Patriots. In a classic Bill Belichick fashion, they bounce back at home after a loss by dominating the Jaguars. They can still win the division, but it's not likely. Look, they handled their business the way you're supposed to handle your business against a bad team. Patriots are underestimated by many. Number 9, Arizona Cardinals. Winning at Dallas to snap a 3-game losing streak was impressive. The defense was outstanding. No, they weren't. Stop the presses. No, they were not. Dallas's offense is horrendous and can barely move the ball 3/4 of any given football game all year long. And the Cowboys, because of that, made the Cardinals defense look good. But the Cardinals defense didn't do anything to stop Dallas. Dallas just did what Dallas does, which is play a horrible offense with an overrated quarterback, overrated running backs, overrated wide receivers. Speaking of Dallas, coming in at number 10, what has happened to the offense, Dak Prescott aside from one game in the past month, just hasn't looked right. No, folks, he's looked like Dak Prescott. He is Tony Romo. They win against bad teams, can't win against good teams, can't make deep runs in the playoffs because they can't beat playoff caliber teams. It has nothing to do with Dak Prescott looking bad. It's Dak Prescott doing what Dak Prescott does, look great against bad teams, average to below average against good ones. Number 11, LA Chargers. If they beat the Raiders this week, they're in the playoffs. They beat up on a depleted Broncos team to put them in that situation. Justin Herbert, one of the most overrated, over-talked about, over-promoted quarterbacks by everybody in the national media. They keep screaming about how they love him. He's so great. He's going to be one of the top quarterbacks. No, he's not. He's going to be an average quarterback. You know what he is? He's going to be Dan Fouts. That is exactly what he's going to be. He is going to be Dan Fouts. Number 12, Las Vegas Raiders. That was a big-time road victory over the Colts. The win, if they win this week against the Chargers, they're in. It's that simple. So for the Chargers, for the Raiders, win, you're in. Raiders, are they going to be able to get the outside noise out of their head? Are they going to be ready to play football? That's the question. Number 13, Indianapolis Colts. Losing at home to the Raiders is not a good look for a team that was riding high after 2 impressive victories. Carson Wentz wasn't good enough. Sometimes, yeah, that's the Achilles heel of the team, Carson Wentz. He's not Kirk Cousins by any means. And I don't mean Kirk Cousins is bad. Kirk Cousins and Carson Wentz are the type of quarterbacks they just need help. They're good. They're a little above average quarterbacks, but they need help. They need those outstanding wide receivers, take the top off the defense. That way they could leave the middle of the field open and make the run game go. And when they don't have those kind of explosive type of wide receivers, it makes it tougher on them when you put the game on their shoulders. Number 14, San Francisco 49ers. It looks like it could be Trey Lance the rest of the way for the injured Jimmy Garoppolo. Yes, it is finally announced he is going to be starting Sunday against the Rams. He did some good things in the second half against the Texans, but it will be tough for him to beat the Rams this week. Well, yes, it will. Look, for all the guys that have been saying Trey Lance is the guy. It's time to let Jimmy G go. Time to move on. Trey Lance, find out what you got. So basically, throw away your Super Bowl aspirations. Put Trey Lance in the driver's seat, and hopefully he can at least get you to the playoffs, when with Jimmy G, you'd probably be looking at least an NFC championship run. Yeah. That's wrong. Let's keep Trey on the sidelines. Put Jimmy G back where he belongs next year. I get it. Jimmy can't play this weekend. As a 49er fan, I'm hoping Trey can do something. But let's face it, he sucked against the Texans, and he didn't look good in the second half. I don't care what anybody says. Those stats are misleading. Red zone, they couldn't score touchdowns. They got field goals. It reminded me of a 49ers team that could move the ball between the 20s and couldn't score TDs, and that's why they couldn't get to the promised land. This looks like that team with Trey Lance at the helm. So unless he miraculously figures something out quick, learns quick, grows up quick, whatever the case may be, we're looking at another 49ers offense that's going to be able to move the ball between the 20s, get into the red zone, won't be able to score touchdowns, going to be looking at field goals, going to depend on the defense to win games because offensively they're not going to be able to put the points up. And that's what you have with Trey Lance at the helm. And that's not a Super Bowl winning system. Sorry. Eagles, number 15. They struggled some against Washington. Very true. But they found a way late to win, which is good because now they're in the playoffs. And I don't understand this either. With the 49ers and the Eagles having the same record, and the 49ers beat the Eagles in head-to-head, why are the Eagles guaranteed and locked into the playoffs and the 49ers have to win their way in? Makes no sense to me at all. 49ers, same record as the Eagles. Eagles are locked in, so whether they lose to Dallas this week or not, they're in. 49ers have to beat the Rams, but yet the 49ers beat the Eagles in head-to-head, and the Eagles don't have to worry about what they do this weekend. Number 16, Pittsburgh Steelers. They're still alive in the playoff chase. Not really, but they got to try and give some excitement. If they beat the Ravens this week and the Jaguars beat the Colts, that's not happening. They're in. It's a long shot, but it's possible. More like mission impossible. The Saints at 8-8, they're still alive, but they need help. The defense was impressive against the Panthers. Saints would have to win against the Falcons. 49ers would have to lose against the Rams. Saints are in. Again, which would still make no sense to me because that would mean that the 49ers and the Saints have the same record. Why would the Saints be in and the 49ers be out? There's something that's not making sense. 1 and 1's not equaling 2 with this deal. Ravens, number 18. They simply had too many injuries and COVID situations to get into the playoffs this year. This is a good team that will be sitting home. Very true. Number 19, Denver Broncos. They're out of the playoffs. Believe me, at week 1, they were out of the playoffs, which means it could be the end for Coach Vic Fangio. 3 seasons without the playoffs usually means that's the case. Folks, who's calling and making deals to get quarterbacks? That's who needs to get fired. Number 20, the Browns. They are a lesson in how it's not always a good thing to be the darlings of the preseason. This was a disappointing season in a lot of ways. Cleveland Browns, big conversation. A lot of people talking about it. You got to look at Baker Mayfield. You have to look at Baker Mayfield. And the reason why you have to look at Baker Mayfield, the reason why the Browns are not in the playoffs is because of Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield played in games where he was injured, and it made him worse than he already is because he's an average quarterback at best to begin with. Too small, can't take hits, inconsistent thrower. And now you add injuries, and he's still trying to play because he's more worried about winning a contract than he is about his team winning games. And he did nothing but make it impossible for his team to win games because he was playing injured and he was ineffective. So Baker Mayfield, for always doing these pressers and talking about how tough I am and I'm toughing it out and you got to give me credit because I'm in there and I'm fighting and I'm playing and I'm doing everything I can to help my team win. No, if you wanted to help your team win, you would have sat on the sidelines. That's what you would have did if you were trying to help your team win. Being on the field was a problem. Sitting on the sidelines would have been better for the Browns. I think it's time for the Browns to move off Baker Mayfield. I get it. They gave him his fifth-year extension. I think they need to move off of him. Trade him if they can, but I don't know who would want him. He hasn't proven that he's good. He's a backup quarterback. That's what he is. Baker Mayfield is a backup quarterback. Number 21, Minnesota Vikings. Could this be the end of Mike Zimmer's tenure in Minnesota? Missing the playoffs for a second straight season is not a good look. It's not on Zimmer. You got an inconsistent quarterback. You offensively don't really have the weapons. You got one wide receiver. You got a running back who's injured. You don't have any backup running backs. Doesn't seem like you got a strong enough offensive line to open up holes for just anybody for a strong run game. So you need a Dalvin Cook in order to make it work. And your quarterback, again, he's inconsistent. I have said all along, you can only go as far as Kirk Cousins can take him. That's your Achilles heel. Dolphins, 22. They were eliminated from the playoffs and losing to the Titans. Tua Tagovailoa was not in a big moment, which means he might not be their long-term guy. You know, I don't know that I agree with that. Tua was not good in a big moment. Look, he just got done winning 7 games in a row. At some point, you were going to lose. He did what he could. What about this coaching staff? Why is it this team plays so inconsistent? Why is it they start off bad 2 years in a row? That's coaching. It's players as well. They're the ones on the field, but that's coaching. And I don't think this coaching staff for the Miami Dolphins is very good. Number 23, Seattle Seahawks. They finally played a decent game against the Lions last week, but it was the Lions. It is too late, however. But what happens to beat Carroll and Russell Wilson after the season? That's the big question. Everybody's speculating. Everybody wanting to create drama. I don't think that Russell Wilson's going anywhere. I don't even think Pete Carroll's going anywhere. I think this is drama created by the national media because just like the regular news media, it's what they love to do. Falcons, 24. They have some tough decisions to make after the season. Matt Ryan's coming back. Is he? Is Matt Ryan going to come back? There's the question. Why would you want him? And I hear his name being brought up for other teams, like replacing Baker Mayfield possibly in Cleveland and all that. Why? What has Matt Ryan done to make anybody want him? Washington football team. They had a chance against the Eagles, but they came up a little short, the 2 consecutive division losses, ended any chance they had to be a playoff team. They were never a playoff team to begin with. Panthers, 26. This thing went bad after a fast start to the season. The offensive line is as bad as any in the league, and it shows every week. No, it's called Christian McCaffrey's missing and hurt, and they can only play well and do well with Christian McCaffrey. It's amazing how he's more important than the quarterback. You might want to think about that for a while, folks, and then figure out if you got the right quarterback. Number 27, Chicago Bears. The Bears impressed in beating the Giants, but it's too little for Matt Nagy. He's almost certainly gone after the season. A lot of rumors, going around. Maybe, possibly, Jim Harbaugh comes and takes over for the Bears. I think it would be great for the NFL. It would be great for the Bears. I'm not convinced Matt Nagy's the problem. Again, rookie quarterback, already injured, already showing you he's not durable, already showing you he can't stay in an NFL field and play ball. You might want to get you another veteran quarterback to be ready to go. I get it. You want to stay with Justin Fields, and so would I. But I'd get a veteran behind him and ready to go because I'm not convinced Justin Fields can last a full season. And if that's the case, then if you guys are so big on banging on Jimmy Garoppolo, shouldn't you be looking at this guy who in his first season, as young as he is, having the problems that he's having? Shouldn't you be looking at him? Number 28, Houston Texans. They played tough again at San Francisco, which could mean David Coley is coming back. Can they knock off the Titans this week? No, they cannot. Number 29, the Lions. That little streak of being in games came to an end at Seattle, but there is a lot to like about this season for this young team and the coaching staff, who I believe in, who I think is going to do a great job. If they have a good offseason and if they go and get some veterans, look, quit relying so much on the draft and go get some veterans. That's what the Lions need to do. Giants, number 30. Their offense is abysmal. So is their coaching. So is the quarterback. The quarterback's the problem. So is the general manager. That offensive line's a joke. I don't care what Keyshawn Johnson says. I don't care how much he thinks he knows about football. He don't know about offensive lines. He never played in one. And I can tell you this, being a fan and watching football for as long as I have, I know what an offensive line is supposed to look like, and the New York Giants ain't it. So it is time for a lot of decisions and a lot of changes to be made in New York. That goes for the Jets as well, starting with that coaching staff, who is abysmal. The good news is Zach Wilson is getting better. Is he? Could it have just been a really bad game for Tampa Bay? Do you really think because they had a good game against Tampa Bay that all of a sudden that means Zach Wilson had a coming out party? I don't think so. Not at all. Jaguars. It gets uglier each week and every week. The end can't get here soon enough. Yes, and Trevor Lawrence is looking bad as well. And folks, I don't know that Trevor's it either. There might be 2 quarterbacks that came out of this draft this year that aren't anything near what these NFL analysts told you. And Trevor Lawrence is one, Justin Fields is the other. All right, that does it for today. I'm going to hold off on the NBA power rankings. I'll save that for tomorrow. Got a couple of other stories I want to do tomorrow. Probably going to get into some of the yay or nay questions that have finally, been completed because my Twitter page is now working the way it's supposed to. At Yay or Nay Podcast, the address to the Twitter page. Go there, answer the questions, like it, follow it. Same thing with my Facebook. Same address at Yay or Nay Podcast. We will talk tomorrow.